I feel like it's time. We need to talk about Jennifer Lopez and her new movie, This Is Me Now. Apparently in TikTok land, Jennifer Lopez is being dragged for being an awful person, an asshole. and that reminded me that we had watched Gigli. By the way, I had a great time. I got drunk and I watched that atrocity of a film.
I thought you wanted to be my bitch. It's turkey time.
And it was the start of Bennifer for all intents and purposes. Apparently, This Is Me Now is a semi-autobiographical, what do I call this, a story? It's an album that she released. Apparently, so back in the heyday when Bennifer was a thing, Jennifer Lopez dedicated her album This Is Me Then to Ben Affleck. I had no idea. In fact, I found out a lot of things about Jennifer Lopez that I did not expect to find out, like how much she is needy. This lady is needy. I genuinely hope she's happy now, because this is concerning. 20 years later, her relationship rekindled with Ben Affleck, and so she's now put out an album called This Is Me Now. Get it? Because the then was her then, and then now. I don't know why it's funny, but I've had this song stuck in my mind for so long. This Is Me Now. In the sheer genius of the title. Get it? Because it's now. Now is like right now. Okay. Anyway, before watching the movie, I wanted to do a little bit of a research on Jennifer Lopez, because to me, she was just Jenny from the block, and she had that song with Pitbull, Dance on the Floor, Get Down on the Floor. I don't know, something about a floor. So this was an eye-opener for me, for sure, to really understand the person behind the persona. No, I'm just lying. It wasn't. I found out they also did a documentary about this movie, and my mind was blown with the possibilities. Like, now that I've seen them, I can honestly say I'm fascinated. Incredibly fascinated. And also very interested in different reactions to seeing these two bodies of work in different orders. So I watched the movie and then I watched the documentary. But I'd be curious to know what it's like to watch the documentary and then watch the movie. Because I watched the movie and it was bad. Like, I'm calling it a movie. I'm being very generous. It's not a movie because it doesn't have a plot. There's no love story being told. It's a mess. It's a bit of a mess. God, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I watched the movie and I thought, this is garbage. Like, this is not good. And then I watched the documentary, and the way they tell this story, I admire the storytelling, and I admire the editing, and I admire the intention behind it. A for effort, but it just felt like it was weird. It felt unnecessary. Like, no one wanted to see that or needed to see that, or really, I don't know what we got out of the documentary other than the realization that she really was taking this movie so seriously. She was so proud of it. And listen, okay, it's not bad. You know, it's got choreography. It's got the songs from her new album. It's entertaining, and the best thing about it is that it's 1 hour and 5 minutes, and 11 minutes of those just credits. So it's an easy watch, which is surprising because it took me 3 times to finish it. I kept falling asleep. Spoiler alert, let's just do a quick recap of the movie, and I'll put the timestamps down below so you can just travel your way into the documentary part if you want to just listen to that. So the whole story hinges on this Puerto Rican tale as old as time, which sounds like a reinterpretation of Romeo and Juliet, or maybe Romeo and Juliet was inspired by other tales out there. The tale of Alida and Taru. And essentially, it's this love story where Alida and Taru are in love, and obviously, for reasons bigger than you and I, they can't be together, and they still try and be together. And then her father finds out and forces her to marry someone else. She's so disgruntled, she turns to the gods and prays for their help. And these gods are all assholes, because instead of helping this poor woman, they just turn her into a rose, or a petal for a rose or a petal, I don't know, some rose petals. And then Taru finds out and turns to the gods again, not knowing that they're assholes who turn her into a fucking flower. and asks them for help, and they turn him into a hummingbird who's now destined to try and find his one true love, the rose petal among rose petals. Star-crossed lovers who came together for circumstances beyond our understanding. Tradition, family values, daddy, no. And Jennifer tells us that her mom used to read this story a lot to her as a child. And I say that's child abuse because it gave this woman a very unrealistic expectation of what love looks like, what love is, and what it is meant to feel like. Anyway, she's with this guy. They're riding a motorcycle through this open field of water and cement. It's kind of a puddle, kind of not. It's very wet. It looks like you could be in the Arctic, but it's also not. She's moving herself like she's in that Kanye West music video.
Honey.
And this is a metaphor for how fast her and Ben's love burned. So fast that he loses control of the bike. And even though she tries to grasp him firmly, they go crashing and flying each to their own place. And then we cut to the heart factory. And something's wrong. Alarms go off and everyone just has to rush to their workstations to fix this heart, this mechanical, ginormous fucking heart in the middle of the factory that no one's really pointing to or questioning why the hell that is doing that. And Jennifer Lopez emerges as the superhero that she is. And then we look down and everyone's kind of just dancing, like slapping the workstations instead of actually doing something for the heart. And then they have this little garden, full of roses because the heart needs to be fed rose petals. Because remember, the Alita and Teru story. And again, we're trying to save the factory, but no one's really doing anything helpful. They're mostly just slapping the tables and moving like they're very angry with the world. The choreography is good, I think. I mean, I'm not a dancer, so I enjoyed it. I found it entertaining and dynamic. That's all I can say about the fucking dancing. The music, it's J-Lo. She said it herself in the documentary. No one was screaming for like her to release an album or a record. She said it herself. No one was asking me to do this. I did it because I wanted to. And damn, was she right. She did it because she wanted to. And she's the only person that wanted to do this, but she did it. So the music is fine by J-Lo standards, I guess. I mean, I don't think you go to her really for the musical prowess, more so for the performance, I guess, because I think she's good live. I would categorize Jennifer Lopez as like a performer, not so much as a singer. And again, they keep dancing, and then she has to climb into that heart, and she has this special rose, I guess, in a little container, and that buys them a little bit more time. And so throughout the rest of the movie, she basically has a therapist played by Fat Joe, and she's basically telling him about all of these dreams about the heart factory and the motorcycle because of this heartbreak that really sent her down a spiral. And we're supposed to assume that was with Ben Affleck because so far no mention of a Ben and no mention of an Affleck. We did see the profile of the bike rider, sort of, but honestly, that could be any white man in Hollywood, so we wouldn't know. And this woman has problems. Like, she needs some time alone. She just had a breakup and she's already jumping into a relationship because, as we come to learn throughout this movie, she is just a hopeless romantic. And that is a beautiful way of saying that she needs to be alone for a while. She needs therapy. She needs stronger therapy than this because this, as we'll see, did nothing. We cut to this again, accompanied by a song from her album. She's in this clear glass house, no privacy, have fun having sex in there. You want to go for a poo? Oh, better hold it in until you get to a public bathroom, because in this house, whatever you do, the whole fucking neighborhood sees. No, honestly. And then all the houses around are also just made of glass. I think she lives in an apartment. And so it's like, it's very impractical for a myriad of different reasons. But mostly, why are y'all fighting in a glass house? Like, that shit's gonna break. And then they have this like weird aggressive dance, and she sort of implies there was domestic violence involved. Anyway, I did some research, and apparently Jennifer Lopez married Mark Anthony 5 months after breaking up with Ben Affleck, which happened 4 days before their wedding. So this woman waited a total of 4 months and 26 days from her wedding day to getting married. That is I'm sorry, am I the only one who finds that wild? And she's stayed married with Mark Anthony for 10 years. Decade. Less than 5 months. Crazy. So this guy is called Rebound. That's the name of the song, by the way. I don't know the name of the others. There's a couple of catchy ones. This is Rebound, Rebound, Rebound. But they basically have what seems to be a physical fight. And if that's the case, and she was a victim of that in her personal life with Mark Anthony, then that's concerning because she has 2 kids with him. But anyway, so that happens. Oh, and then she has a zodiac obsession. Yes, all my astrology girlies out there, this is not a read to any of you all, so don't, if they find me, I'm never going to see the end of my next moon rising in Saturn. And then we cut to the zodiac sign themselves, played by some of her celebrity friends. Yeah, you know, the ones that said yes after the first 300 said no. Yep, we'll get to that. And I don't know, out of the Zodiacs, it's very obvious that they all recorded their own lines isolated, like by themselves, because there's just a weird, ominous pause between each of their lines. Before anyone speaks, there's always this very, very empty pause that you can feel, like, of silence. And it just feels like they just had the clips of each of them talking, and then to avoid, like, too much audio mixing or like overlaying of tracks, I guess, I don't know, they just kept them all so separate and isolated in their own little islands. It felt bad. Props to Jennifer Lopez for delivering 2 performances instead of 1. That was 1 day's work, sort of, according to the documentary. But my standout is Keke Palmer. She brought that fucking sad panel to life. It was Keke Palmer, Post Malone, who I guess, you know, if you're a singer, you'll be an actor too, no matter what. And you got Kim Petras. Again, see the point before. If you are a singer, you're going to be an actor, no matter what. It's either that or Jennifer Lopez just ran out of options, okay? And then you have Jane Fonda, who Jennifer had to beg to come in because that I know was a day's work. She told Jane Fonda, why don't you come, please? I'll make sure that we do it all in one afternoon or one day, I don't know. She just wanted that woman in because she needed an A-lister in that panel of who are these people? And by these people, I mean, there's 2 that I don't know. No, there's 1. Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. And Jennifer Lopez, who in this movie plays the character called The Artist. I feel like this is the dream of any artist. You reach a point of your career that you're so far up your own ass that you just create this autobiographical piece of work and you call yourself like the hero or the artist or the poet. If I ever write mine, I'm going to call myself the whore. So the artist clearly has problems, and apparently she's been on a mission to sleep with every zodiac sign because she believes that astrology is going to determine the compatibility of 2 different personalities. I don't know. I'm not against astrology, but to go as far as trying them all out, like this is like this is the sample section at McDonald's. Ooh, I want to try some of that. Ooh, give me some of that. No. But anyway, she does that, and she gets married 3 times. Now, I did Google this because I was curious. Did she really get married 3 times? She did, but not between meeting Ben Affleck and not. So after Ben Affleck, she only had 1 marriage, I think. Which just goes to show that by the age of, 26, 27, she'd been married twice. Yeah. So she had 2 marriages before Ben Affleck and then 1 marriage after him. But in this movie, she presents all 3 as happening after her heartbreak. So I don't know. I feel like I'm running into a bit of a plot hole. And Jennifer, if you're going to do it, don't give us plot holes. Unless you refer back to the description of this film, which is not a musical, nor is it a music video. It's neither. It's somewhere in the middle. And so somewhere in the middle, she did get married 3 times after meeting Ben Affleck. And you're just going to have to deal with it. I feel like there's more difficult things to come to terms with. Like, for example, I'm allergic to gluten slightly. So if I drink beer, I will have a very terrible hangover. I've come to terms with that. So Jennifer Lopez has another performance of one of her songs, which is Can't Get Enough. I think that's the catchiest because it's got this tune from a different song that I can't place right now. It's I'm still in love with you, boy. And I know that's a reference to something that came before. I'm not going to Google it. I'm just going to hope that one of you will have watched this video so far and tell me the answer in the comment section. So anyway, she has 3 weddings, and immediately we jump into 3 counseling sessions with her, the therapist, and one of the 3 husbands. And there's a running theme of them just not clicking, you know? And she goes as far as saying, well, that's just who I am. That's me. And I'm like, that's great. I'm not above anyone claiming who they are and owning their personality. Kudos to you. But there's a caveat. You don't have to change, but you may find yourself to be so incredibly obnoxious that actually nobody wants you. And this is not me saying that people are undesirable because of their personality, but also they kind of are or can be, with the right combination of just lack of self-awareness and just main character syndrome. Some people just can't see it. I got lost again. She refuses to change, and she has 3 breakups. So this is a very healthy cycle that she's in, which is a wedding, therapy, divorce, marriage, therapy, divorce, marriage. I wonder if she's charging her therapist for the price of her next wedding because she already knows that he's gonna destroy it. So she's like, I'm gonna invoice you now. And you just choose whatever timeline works for you for me to break up with him, and yeah, we'll just come in, do those sessions, and ta-da. Remember when I said that I was allergic to gluten? Well, I'm drinking beer right now. So okay, I almost forgot. My favorite line that she says in all of these counseling sessions is that she's with them because being with you feels like home, but I left home for a reason. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it truly feels like in this entire artistic endeavor, she just told the world that she sees love like this 12-year-old naive girl who's not lived beyond the age of 12. And even then, it's like, girl, I don't know. Maybe I just don't know a lot of people. Maybe I just don't have enough friends to make a good assessment of the situation. But this just feels like a very childish perception of what love is or should be. You know, she's so desperately clinging to this idea that you have a soulmate and that person will just gel with you in ways that you couldn't even verbalize. And I think that's one of the things that keeps holding people back, is that expectation that you're going to find someone that is such a perfect match, you're never going to have a moment of doubt. And I don't think that's what true love is. In fact, that's probably an excuse to avoid true love. Because with that, if you have this idealized version of who the person you're meant to be with looks like, sounds like, thinks like, then you're just going to hold every other person that you meet in your entire life to that incredibly high standard. And you're always going to find faults. Always. Because you can never match an idealized version you've literally created out of thin air in your head. Nothing's ever going to come close to that. It really is about, like, how much you actually, like, feel like yourself when you're with that person. Not me giving a fucking therapy lesson in this channel, but it's true. It's not about, like, who gels the best. It's about what type of person are you when you're with them? Like, is that a person that you like? Is that a person you feel comfortable being? That's what you should be asking yourself. But anyway, Jennifer Lopez is just really into weddings, and she loves to put on a white dress and dance in front of all of her family, who are probably thinking, my God, let the third one be the last. Alas, it was not. So she gets divorced. Again, and, you know, now she feels like she may be the problem. Now we're on to something. Now we're cooking with gas. Finally, she's realizing that she has a problem. It needs to be fixed. How? Let's let her find out. She does what every sensible person would do after a breakup and starts sleeping around, dating around. Good for you. I support this. May not be the best way for you to find happiness. Probably is the worst possible way. But I support your right of choosing to just have fun, because it's important to have fun. And her friends, a bunch of hypocrites, a bunch of losers, really, a bunch of freeloaders, stage an intervention. Now, if I ever get staged an intervention and it's not about a serious alcohol or drug abuse, I am going to light the house on fire. What do you mean I can't sleep around? What do you mean I can't have fun with other people wherever, whenever? But alas, her boyfriend, genius that he is, has a gun. Because this is America. You know, you gotta normalize guns. Oh, y'all are broken over there. Blink twice if you need help. Pretend not to see. And so they stage this intervention, and she goes back to her therapist. The guy that's done nothing but, I don't know what he's done. In fact, I don't know if he's done anything good or bad. Because all he does is just have these vapid conversations. Like, that is not what a therapy session should be like, I think. I'm not in therapy, though I probably should be. But then again, so should everybody else. So you didn't get me there. I just don't think this sounds like a convincing therapy session, if that makes sense. But the therapist decides the best course of action for Jennifer Lopez, the love addict, is to go to, I want to get this right, Love Addict Anonymous. Woo, woo. Love Addict Anonymous is this somber meeting in a dark, empty gym. Imagine Alcoholics Anonymous, but instead of being addicted to a substance that alters your behavior and puts at risk every relationship in your life, as well as forms of income and potential future, or even your health, it's single people. Maybe I'm just too young to understand what is that generation's obsession with finding the one. But then again, the whole concept of monogamy and they're having this really sad, somber meeting, and she just stands up, and I guess it's her time. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, I'm an addict. I'm a love addict. Like, what do they even say in these meetings? Hi, American, I'm an alcoholic. Hi, American, I'm addicted to love. And then you look at someone very inappropriately, do a lewd gesture even, and bam, you're an nymphomaniac. And this is where she sings her other song called Broken. I don't know. They sing about being broken. And this goes back to that childish view of love that I was talking about. She keeps talking about herself as if like we're worthy of feeling love or not. And maybe there's just something broken inside of her because she just can't get it right. You know, she can't find a significant other. And it's like, ma'am, I get that, but like a meeting that resembles AA just sounds like a scream for help. I'm not going to sit here and say that you can't suffer because of love. Of course you can. Of course heartbreak is real. And of course it at times it's going to feel like the worst possible ache in the world. I get all that. But you watch this movie and it just feels like Jennifer Lopez is in the middle of a field. It's nighttime, and she just bought the biggest light there is, and just shines it on herself. And she's in the middle of this darkness, vast darkness. The world's post-apocalyptic world, like we're all dead, basically. Or if we're not dead, we're zombies, like lurking around. And she's in the middle of this field. And she puts this massive light on her, like the power of 1,000 suns. And she doesn't get burned because she's Jennifer Lopez and she takes care of her fucking skin and she drinks water. And she's in the middle of this field and there's a light shining on her skin and she's gorgeous and beautiful. And she looks up and we're all like in spaceships, right? Like the ones that didn't die, we're all like floating around Earth, like seeing, what is this? Like there's life down there. Oh, it's Jennifer Lopez. And she looks at you and all the other survivors, the remaining people of the human race. And she says, what about me? Don't I matter? Doesn't my love story matter? Now, I don't know if that made sense for a lot of people, but that's genuinely what this feels like. It feels like she needs attention. She wants attention. I get it. I'm a whore for attention. I love getting attention. Can't believe I'm going to say this, but according to the Zodiacs, Leos love attention, love praise. That's me. I love attention and I love praise. But even oh my God, it feels inappropriate, okay? It feels slightly straight phobic, not homophobic. The gays will love how camp this all looks, I think. I hope. I don't know. It just feels wrong. Then we cut to her burning love letters in this ginormous fucking mansion because she wants you to feel her pain as she suffers in this beautiful, luxurious, immaculate, beautiful mansion. Just rich. Like the smell is rich. The colors, rich. What you're breathing, rich air. Everything is money. That house, oh my God. You know what? I would do Gigli for that house. And again, I don't know if this was an attempt to get us to relate to this character, but when she looks this fucking beautiful, burning love letters in this massive mansion, I think I have bigger problems than that. I think. And then she goes back to therapy because, I mean, at least she's doing something right, you know? If she's struggling, she should go to therapy. I applaud this. I applaud these scenes, which were basically the only thing really they could call a plot in this mess. But she tells him that her cynical friend is getting married. And this, of course, opens up new possibilities, because if the cynical person believes in love, after all, then there is hope for everybody else. And then she tells him of another dream that she's been having. And long story short, she apologizes to her younger self in her dream because her younger self tells her, I didn't receive enough love when I was 9, I think. And she's like, from mom and dad. See, these fucking kids always trying to shift the blame to the parents. And the child is like, no, from you. And this is what clicks inside of her mind. She's realizing that although she felt like she didn't receive enough love, that eventually manifested in the love she gives herself. Therefore, she didn't have enough self-love growing up. She didn't know her self-worth or self-value. So when searching for men, instead of searching for something that complements her and enhances what she already is, she was looking for idealized versions she thought she could please and she could keep and she could have a happy life with. Not understanding that when you sacrifice who you are to try and please another person, that's never going to be a relationship that works. Because a relationship is not each person trying to impress the other. A relationship is two people that are impressed by who the other one is. They are impressed, full stop. They see you when you're at your most natural, and they're impressed by you. And that's what makes relationships. It's not about you changing your entire personality, wardrobe, whatever, to hopefully get someone's attention. Like, the attention is you. You're the attention. Be yourself. That's the most attention you'll ever need. Damn, what was that? So in this dream, she apologizes to her younger self. They hug it out, and Jennifer Lopez is crying on this sofa, like really feeling the emotions. I thought her performance through it all, it was okay. It was good. It wasn't like Oscar worthy, but it was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It didn't blow me away. I don't think it's going to blow anyone away. And this is what gets me. She finishes the therapy session, then goes outside, and it's raining, right? It's raining, and she has this cute little dancing in the rain scene where she dances around the rain with her umbrella, blah, blah, blah. And she made it very clear that she wanted a round, clear, transparent umbrella. Refer back to the documentary for that. But she dances in the rain, and there's a hummingbird, and she sees the hummingbird, and all of a sudden that has reignited the love concept in her mind. She sees a hummingbird, and then her therapist finds her in the rain, like soaking wet, and is like, what are you doing? And her response is, you can never give up, Joe. And I'm like, you just left his therapy session like you cured yourself during a dream. And then you get out of the office and you just go back to who you were before this breakthrough. Like, literally lasted about 3 minutes of singing and dancing before she went back to her old ways. And then we cut back to the wedding, which is in the future. Remember, she was invited. And she turns around because there's a man approaching her. And you see the camera slowly moving, about to reveal his face. And then as soon as you see like half a cheek, the movie ends. So listen, Jennifer was right. This is not a movie musical, and this is not a music video. This is neither, and it's a bit of both. I don't know. It just felt very surface level. Like, okay, because this is what happens. If you watch the documentary before you watch the movie, you're gonna go in with a lot higher expectations, because the documentary basically explains what happened in the leading up to making this film. And Jennifer Lopez had been pitching production companies about this idea that she had, and it was going to be like a musical film to accompany her newest album, This Is Me Now. And it wasn't going to be a music video. It wasn't going to be like an actual musical. It's not even a visual album, I don't think. So it's like you can't really define it. So who is going to invest in it, you know? Like, from that standpoint, I'm like, you can't even tell me what it is, and you want me to invest in it. That makes no sense. So she pitches the story, and initially they go for it. But then they think back and look at how other movies from celebrities are doing, and they look at the Eras Tour, the Renaissance World Tour, and then a couple of others. I don't know their names. And they're basically saying that audiences don't actually want to see any of this. First of all, they had a point. I don't think people want to see this. I don't know what it is about it, but I keep referring back to Beyonce's Lemonade, the visual album. And like, that felt so dense in terms of the meanings and the story itself. It felt so rich. You know, there was a lot of story, a lot of culture to unpack in each of the songs. And like, everything made sense when you watch it from beginning to end. It's a visual story accompanied by one of the greatest albums of all time. So I keep referring back to that, even though it's an unfair comparison, because, you know, it's a completely different concept. But I don't know. I was rooting for Jennifer. I was rooting for this visual album to be good. But like, so the documentary basically explains that she had the funding, and then production companies pulled out, defunded her movie. And she decided that she really wanted to put it out, and instead decided to fund it herself. And I think it cost her $30 million or something like that. Which, if you look at her net worth, baby, that's pennies. You'll be fine. Like, no one broke an arm for you. I feel like people spend more of their net worth sometimes going to a hospital with a broken leg than she has with this entire movie. So let's just call it what it is. This woman has the means. She can afford it. Let her do it. Are there better things that she could do with her money? Absolutely. Absolutely. But like she says several times throughout the documentary, she's an artist. This is her artistic expression. And when she says that, I'm like, you know what? She has a point. Maybe her art is not for me. Maybe her art is not for me, but I genuinely enjoyed some parts of it. Now, what I find funny, first of all, the documentary is called The Greatest Love Story Never Told. And as Ben Affleck puts it, it's quite ironic that you're making a record of the greatest story never told. Isn't that telling it? And so she funds the whole movie, and she becomes basically the boss of everyone, because, like, you know, she's paying everyone's salaries out of her own pocket. And we get taken through like the process, and it's interesting to see how some of the decisions are made in the behind the scenes, for sure. Is it worthy of a documentary? No. But I watched the movie, so I wasn't going to skip on the documentary in case there was any juicy bits in there. And there was one. There was a very, very juicy piece of information that I wasn't aware of, maybe other people were, that I feel like explains a lot about this whole movie and documentary. Jennifer Lopez is a middle child. Like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, of course. And instantly felt like I could forgive anything. She's a middle child, and she reveals that initially she had like a stack of letters that she kept, that she exchanged with Ben Affleck back when they were dating 20 years ago, when they met in that awful movie set. And in the process of making this movie, I guess, I don't know if it was just her friends or everyone that walked past, but she basically had the letters out, and she let anyone who wanted to read them. Like, these are love letters that you had with your boyfriend 20 years ago, and you're letting people just read them now that you're back together with him, and that they know who he is, and he's going to be here. And then they tell him to his face, oh yeah, we call you Pen Affleck. Get it? pen instead of Ben, because it's pen pal, because they were exchanging letters. Now they're mocking him and making him sound like they were just Boy Scouts keeping in touch after summer camp. So she lets everyone read the fucking letters, and that just leads me to believe that she wants you to celebrate her love story. She wants you to, whenever you think about like power couple, greatest love story of all time, like couple that's never going to get divorced in your mind, she wants you to go straight to her and Ben Affleck. Like there's no other couple that you are going to gravitate towards, because she wants you to know that this is the greatest love story never told. And guess what? She ends up not telling it. Okay, hear me out. The movie begins with her breakup with Ben Affleck, and the movie ends when they see each other again. So this great love story never told between Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck isn't actually told. You know, we're told about her rebound, guys. We get a little bit of screen time of her working on herself. We see her forgive her past self in a dream as she's talking to the therapist Fat Joe. Now, one could argue that actually the greatest story never told is how she learned how to love herself. Because in this movie, she does go through the trials and tribulations of getting married 3 times and getting divorced 3 times because you just can't take the hint. Stop getting married. She goes through all of this, and then in the end, after doing no work on herself whatsoever, all she does is go to sleep and dream about things, and that's it. That's her therapy. I love this bitch. If I could cure myself out of depression with dreams, where do I sign? But all she does in the movie is dream about things and then forgive herself and get over her problems. And ta-da. I keep forgetting where I was. What was I saying? I completely forgot where I was. So if this doesn't make any sense with what I was saying, I just had like the biggest brain diarrhea fart. Like everything that I was saying just went out the window and I have no idea where I was. But anyway, let me see if I can pick up the baton wherever I fucking left it. Okay.
When they ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
One could argue that this is more her coming to terms with her own trauma, learning to love herself. Maybe the greatest story never told is how Jennifer Lopez learned how to love herself in the middle of a really, really long heartbreak. It lasted like 20 years. 20 years is more than half my life. Man. But it's not. It's not a story about learning to love yourself, because if it was, we wouldn't be giving so much attention to all these men. She wouldn't have dedicated the album to Ben Affleck. Again, she wouldn't have invited him to have more screen time in the documentary than he did in the movie, which is very weird as well. Also, the documentary is 1 hour and 25 minutes, whereas the movie is 1 hour and 5 minutes. The documentary is longer than the movie. It took them longer to document the trials and tribulations than the actual story. I suspect that maybe she had to make her movie shorter because she had to self-fund it. I could see that happening. But then they also try to humanize her in the documentary. This is one of the most jarring aspects, because you see her working throughout the entire thing, and obviously now she has all this responsibility. And then when they show that embarrassing part of her, like listening to her assistant tell her this person can't, this person can't, this person can't, this person can't, this person can't. And all of her celebrity friends are saying no to her, and they've just included that in the documentary. Like, have some decorum. Like, keep that shit to yourself. Don't show us that. I felt really uncomfortable. And then at the end, someone asked her, do you want Vanessa Hudgens? And without missing a beat, she goes, for what? That was savage. That was savage, because I was about to feel sorry for her, but then he's like, what do I want that bitch for? And then they show her like desperately pleading with Jane Fonda to come for a day. And it's just all very like, we're trying to humble Jennifer Lopez. You know, we're trying to really show you that she's one of you. She's one of us. She's a mere mortal who has just stress at work like everybody else, you know? Yes, she's a super pop star, rich millionaire, and you're just a factory worker with minimum wage and really bad health care. But, you know, she suffers like you. She also has stress at the end of the day, you know? So it just felt very much like an attempt to get people to relate to her. But, like, there's nothing relatable about that, because obviously people watching her aren't really as rich as her. Honestly. Honest to God, I cannot imagine anyone with like a substantial amount of money watching this for any reason other than, I don't know, they needed to drown out the noise of their diarrhea, so they put something on TV. Genuinely cannot see anyone that is rich remotely watching this. So of course I watched it because I'm fucking dirt poor. And she's like a very, very, very professional performer. Like you can tell that she takes her craft very seriously. You know, she is professional first and foremost. And that is really nice to see. It was just slightly painful because if you watch the documentary after watching the movie, you know the end result. And so seeing her fight so much against potential sound advice on this film was just like heartbreaking because like, you know, the final vision and I don't know. I think it needed a new script. Maybe it just needed a new script or a new story or just new emotions. And then she's at the gym and she's just worked out and she has her hair like all frazzled, you know, after a gym session. And she's just like holding herself in this manner. I don't know, it's just very weird. And she's talking about how sometimes she likes to loosen up her hair like that. And she feels like she's right back at the Bronx when she was a teenage girl. You know, she's Jenny from the block. And she just feels like this teenager aspiring to be great, dreaming nonstop throughout their lives in the Bronx. But here she is in a massive private gym filming a documentary for her self-funded musical spectacle. And it's like, I don't know. It just felt very inorganic the way it was edited, created. It was weird. And then they release the movie. I think it's funny. I think it's a great watch if you're with friends or drunk. I think you'll enjoy it. I wouldn't go as far as saying this movie was in response to all of the stories circulating on TikTok about her, because I'm sure she had this planned for a lot longer than she's been in people's mouths. Like, if y'all could stop talking shit about her. But yeah, this is another bizarre entry into that. I don't even know what kind of movie I would categorize this as, but it was very funny seeing everybody do mental gymnastics to try and explain why this is such a great idea and why she isn't actually off her fucking mind. But it was also admirable to see that she was sort of self-aware to a point, because she does say throughout, like, people are afraid of saying yes to this kind of project because they're afraid to being vulnerable. And then they're afraid that if this does really badly, they're going to be associated to a really bad movie that they'll be embarrassed about. And those are all valid concerns. No one's going to do a dissertation about it, except for me, talking about this for half an hour. But it's really, really camp. It's so out of touch. Okay, that's it. This Is Me Now felt like a comeback that Jennifer Lopez orchestrated, even though she just never disappeared. So no one really cared. I saw some online discourse the day the trailer dropped, but after that, it's pretty much been crickets. And again, refer back to Jennifer Lopez telling us that no one is asking for an album of hers. So I do commend her tenacity and her confidence. It do take her nerve, because that took a lot of fucking nerve to there. But yeah, I truly, if you enjoy hate watching things, then I would recommend This Is Me Now and the greatest story never told being told. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, feel free to leave it a like down below, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments down below if you watched this movie. What did you think? Is Jennifer really, is it all a cry for attention, or is it just personality problems? All right, till next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys.